Alright, class. Today, we have a special If Worlds Collide faction. We will not be covering any particular piece of lore. Rather, we shall be learning how to make a faction. Whether it be a proxy or something of your own design. Have you wanted to bring your creations to life in this vast and exciting setting? Well, today is your lucky day, as I shall be covering all the steps necessary to making a faction. Let us begin. Mr. Archivist, sir? Just to make sure, we're able to make any faction we want, yes? Oh, thank you for reminding me. You can make almost any faction. There are a few exceptions, a couple of quid pro quos. Like, Rule 1, nothing politically or emotionally charged, particularly relating to current events. Such topics only serve to bring toxicity into the wider community due to how charged they are. Now, rule number 2. While historical factions are allowed, there are obvious exceptions, including but not limited to the major powers of the Axis during World War II, the Soviet Union, blatantly evil dictators, and the like. Blatantly evil parodies of these groups are okay, such as, for example, the Empire of Geese with Hands. Terrifying, I know. And finally, nothing that might cause some copyright-based legal trouble. Yes, I am aware proxies are a thing. However, there are some differences between that and the original inspiration. Think of it as the change up the homework meme. You can, quote-unquote, copy it, just change up some of the answers so it doesn't look like you copied it. Savvy? Now, if there's any other rules and whatnot that I missed, do let me know in the comments below. Now, on to the first step of making a faction. You have to come up with a good name for your faction. In order to do this, ask yourself, what is the theme of your faction? Is it a modern human military? Is it a star-spanning empire of a singular or multiple races? Is it a kobold pack, a goblin tribe, a bandit group? Is it based off of Greek, Egyptian, or maybe Polynesian mythos? Or do you wish to pull something straight from history? Like, say, the Chinese Romance of Three Kingdoms, the Incan Empire, the early kingdoms of the Middle Ages, or maybe something from alternate history, like a modernized Tecumseh's Confederacy. Whatever your theme might be, hold on to it. And now, ask yourself, what is the centerpiece of the faction? While it is not necessarily a crucial part in naming the faction, it will certainly make it easier. Now, as an example of these steps, I will reference one of my own factions, the Legions of the Crown. The base theme of the faction, while not necessarily indicated by the title artwork, is Napoleonic Britain, with a mixture of every variant of fantasy creature you can think of. However, if you'll notice in the name, it includes the word crown. This is not in reference to a singular royal family. Rather, The crown in question is an alliance of various nation-states. But despite that distinction, the crown is the centerpiece of the theme, hence the name, the Legions of the Crown. Another example we have is the Blooded, a band of roving warriors who live for the thirst of battle and the spilling of blood, hence the name. Now, as I stated before, you do not have to follow this naming convention. However, it is a good reference point to follow. Now that we have our name, we move on to the next necessary step in making a faction. However, from this point onward, the steps do not have to be made in the order in which I will present them to you. But there are specific requirements for each one, so I will be sure to cover each of them in detail. First on our list, we have Faction Tactics. These are special abilities from which, while in a game, you can attempt to apply to your units. And when I say attempt, I mean you have to succeed a d6 roll first. Some faction tactics are simple movement buffs, like +2, +3. These can have their knack rolls be safely at a 2-up or 3-up, depending on how many units you can bring into a roster. Other factions, such as the Harbor Technocracy, use tactics that apply debuffs to the enemy, such as reducing their defense, crippling their movement, or even sabotaging their weapons. But no matter what you do for your faction's tactics, the greater the boon, the higher the knack requirement must be. Though, since we use a d6 system, can't really go above a 6. Then again, factions such as the Deck use other systems. So who knows? Maybe you can make a faction centered on d8s, or d10s. Or hell, if you're ambitious enough, use tarot cards or a d100. Though I do not recommend using those. Especially if you're starting out, I'd recommend sticking to the d6 system. And while it's recommended to at least have 5 or 6 tactics on hand for your faction, you can create as many as you wish. However, there is a maximum limit of 6 per faction for a game. And if you ever have any questions regarding whether or not you're making a tactic overpowered or underpowered, you can always join us in the community Discord and ask. Your fellow players will be more than happy to assist in that regard. And now, class, up next we have... No time left. Goodness, this lecture went longer than expected. But no matter, we shall cover the other aspects of faction creation next week. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you do not miss that. And I very much hope to see you there.